What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of The Lawyer You Know. Well, it happened. Michael Proctor has been officially terminated. We're going to read through the statement, the findings, and talk about how this is going to affect Karen Reed's second trial, what Michael Proctor is going to be able to do about it on the stand. And I wonder what his family, who's been going out giving all these interviews about how this were lies, this was everything just made up by the defense to try and make Michael Proctor look bad when really it should be about Karen Reed. What are they going to have to say about these findings and the outcome of what happened to Michael Proctor? So a lot of us were wondering if this was going to come down before the second trial started. Was it going to come down after, before, or after Michael Proctor took the stand? Was there some kind of strategy? Was there some kind of corruption to this? Well, it turns out the answer is it's going to come out before trial number 2. And this is going to be something that I believe is going to be a part of trial number 2. I think Alan Jackson and the defense team are reading this and figuring out how they can fit this confirmation of what they've been saying for so long about Michael Proctor, confirmed by the Department of State Police in the trial board findings. So let's give it a read. The findings of the trial board held on January 15, 2025, February 10, 2025, March 13, 2025, in pursuance of Personal Order 25PER005, dated January 6, 2025, having been approved by the Colonel, Superintendent, Trooper Michael Proctor, is hereby found Charge 1, Specification 1, 2, and 3, guilty, guilty, guilty. Charge 2, Specification number 1, guilty. Trooper Proctor, on various dates between January 29th, 2022 and August 17th, 2022, did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, or other condition deserving state police attention. So he failed to take appropriate action on occasion of a crime. That's interesting. This occurred when Trooper Proctor, while assigned as the lead investigator in a homicide investigation, sent derogatory, defamatory, disparaging, and or otherwise inappropriate text messages about a suspect in that investigation to other individuals. This action is in direct violation of Article 5.8.2. This is a Class A violation. So let's start with that. So they make a finding that he sent derogatory, defamatory text messages, the lead investigator, to other people about a case he was working on. Totally inappropriate. Conduct unbecoming of a police officer. Does this sound like something that was made up by the defense? That was just pushed out by the defense? Do you think the Department of State Police is on the defense's side? All they're doing is pointing the finger at all these public officials and cops and government officials. They don't want to help them. They don't want to help the defense. They'll do anything they can not to help them. And even they found that Proctor did this and it was a violation bad enough to get him terminated. So when Proctor's on the stand, you did X, Y, and Z. That's conduct unbecoming of a police officer. That'll cost you your job, right? You were fired because of this. These were defamatory, derogatory text messages that you sent as the lead investigator. Hard to dance against it. And this is something, I don't think this is going to be entered into evidence. I don't think the judge is going to allow that. Maybe the defense will try. There will be objections, hearsay, all sorts of issues, relevance, but it can definitely be used to refresh Proctor's recollection if he just seems to forget or not remember that this happened to him or this was the reason he was terminated. And with any supervising officers, superior officers, or people Proctor talked to about this are asked, why didn't you do more? Isn't it true he was terminated? Isn't it true these were the findings that somebody else found, but you didn't do anything about it as his supervisor, or you didn't take the appropriate steps you should have, right? And something else that I think is important is the dates. This trial board was held on January 15th, February 10th, March 13th, and we're going to be in trial April 1st. So that all just happened. This is fresh. This is not somebody that looked back and said, oh, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal 3 years ago when Proctor did this. What other date is in here? Well, the dates of his wrongdoing started on January 29th, 2022. Do you think the jury's going to hear that date a few times throughout trial number 2? Paragraph 2. Trooper Proctor, on various dates between January 29, 2022 and June 9th, 2022, did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on occasion of a crime, disorder, or other condition deserving of state police attention. This occurred when Trooper Proctor, while assigned as the lead investigator in a homicide investigation, provided sensitive and or confidential information about a homicide victim, potential witness, and or potential investigative steps in the investigation to non-law enforcement personnel. This action is in direct violation of Article 5.8.2. This is a Class A violation. Providing confidential information to people you shouldn't. So the first one is just disgusting, a moral failure, bad character. Can you trust this guy? The second one is providing information that you just shouldn't be providing to anyone, let alone non-law enforcement people. So what else did he do? He's willing to break the rules. For what reason? Right? I'm talking as a defense attorney here. What I would do in cross-examination of him and anybody he sent this information or these texts to. This is the type of guy we're dealing with. Members of the jury, the lead investigator. As the state's case goes, Proctor goes. A vote for guilty is a vote for Proctor's work on this case. And these are findings against him. He's going to have to admit it to you. This is why he was terminated. Because of his work on this case, he lost his job. So are you really going to sit there and say, oh, this work was well done and enough to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt? Trooper Proctor, through his actions on various dates between January 29th and August 17th, did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, or other condition deserving of state police attention. This occurred when Proctor, while assigned as lead investigator of a homicide investigation, through his unprofessional and inappropriate conduct, created an image that he was biased in his dealings with a homicide suspect and or brought otherwise himself and the Massachusetts State Police into disrepute. This action is a direct violation of 5.8.2. This is a Class A violation. So again, they're not just going to ask him questions. He's not going to be able to dance around. They're going to say, you know what you did, Proctor? You showed your bias. You showed how unprofessional you were with the conduct on this case, specifically the dates January 29th through August 17th. Mr. Proctor, I want to talk to you about the dates between January 29th and August of 2022. That's right during the thick of this investigation. When all these things were not done properly, right? You got red Solo cups. You got pieces being found everywhere. You got witnesses not being investigated, witnesses not being spoken to. You got witness statements not being recorded and taken down properly. Well, guess what? All your work you did there has been found to be defamatory, derogatory, disgusting, and against what any cop should do. You're providing confidential information that you should not be providing to non-law enforcement people, breaking the rules, and you're showing your biased and unprofessional opinion of a suspect to be Karen Reed, in this case, all as a cop. That's what you did. That's why you got fired. How's he going to dance around that? And again, I don't care if it's Karen Reed, John Smith, Jack Jones, Lori Vallow. I don't care who the defendant is. If you have a cop who did what Proctor did, has these findings against him, it's about as bad as it gets, and any defense lawyer would go in hard on Proctor. And that's why, man, I think the statements made by his family at this point, this time, publicly pushing it out there as much as possible is just, they didn't get good advice, in my opinion. Not a great look when these are the findings of the trial board. Literally, this is the Department of State Police, their trial board. If anything, they would want to protect cops. That's how bad this is. When it's this bad and you go full Proctor, this is what happens. But wait, there's more. Additionally, Trooper Proctor on July 19, 2022, again, right in the thick of when he's the lead investigator on this case, he did consume alcohol while on duty and not in the performance of a duty and while acting under specific orders from a supervisory member of or proper authority. This occurred when Trooper Proctor consumed alcoholic beverages while eating dinner on duty. and then proceeded to operate his department-issued cruiser. This action is in direct violation of Article 5.10.4. This is a Class B violation. Trooper Michael Proctor, ID number 3863, as a result of this action, shall be terminated, dishonorably discharged. Do you think that's going to come up? Do you think they're going to ask that specific representation that he was terminated and dishonorably discharged? And by the way, they're going to try to get into as many of these facts as they can, as much detail as they can. What is Judge Cannoni going to allow them to? I think that still remains to be seen. But he also got reprimanded for drinking and driving as well. Not just drinking and driving, but drinking and driving his police-issued vehicle. So is Karen Reed just going to be guilty because she drank and drove and happened to be at the spot? Well, she's not the only one drinking and driving. As we know, that night, there's going to be a lot of testimony of people drinking and driving, but even the lead investigator is doing it while on duty in his police car. This is as bad as it gets. I think this is going to be a highlight of the defense. I think this is going to be a huge part of trial number 2. I think Jackson's going to use it in his cross-examination of Proctor, of other law enforcement officers, of other witnesses Proctor spoke to, his closing argument. I think this is going to be something that is huge, and if the jury didn't hate Proctor before, this is just going to add fuel to that fire. Let me know what you think. Were you surprised? Were you surprised at any of these specific findings? How do you think the defense is going to use them? If you were a juror and you saw this or got this information, whether they see this document or hear it from Alan Jackson, how would it affect your view of the prosecution, of the investigation, of Trooper Michael Proctor in this case? Let me know, please, even if you disagree with me. Even if you think Karen Reed is guilty as sin, if you think she should go down for this and she did this to John O'Keefe, how do you view this? How do you deal with this as a juror? Let me know. I really would love to read it. Either way, I want to see what you guys think. I'm appalled by it. I've been appalled by Proctor from day one. I think this was absolutely the right decision. I'm glad they didn't hold back. I'm glad they put the specific details in there of what exactly he did wrong and when, because he should be held accountable, and he was. You can't have cops doing this because it makes all cops look bad. You have to call out the bad apples. You got to get rid of the bad apples in any profession, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's a cop. All right, hit that like button, subscribe. We're done here. Till next time, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, The Lawyer You Know.